Happy Wednesday morning, everybody. Welcome into Morning JOX. Here with you until 7 a.m., getting you set for everything going on in the world of college football and much, much more. As, again, we do have the Army-Navy game coming up this weekend, but outside of that, essentially kind of a week off almost in the world of college football, where we've gotten the Notre Dame drama and things of that nature and a lot of college football conversation. But of course, next week, really gearing up for those games on Friday and Saturday for the first round of the college football playoff. So we'll definitely dive into the playoff and have a fun little exercise here coming up in a little bit, going through and just kind of reevaluating these teams now. If you just take the 12-team field, kind of how do we view each of the teams? How would we rank each of the teams? Kind of throwing out a lot of things from the season as a whole, and more so just right now, watching where these teams are. Who do we think has the best opportunity to make some noise in the college football playoff and potentially find themselves competing for a national championship next month? So we've got a lot to get into, a lot of fun we're going to have today on the show. Appreciate you tuning in each and every morning right here to Morning JOX. But we will start off with a congratulations of sorts, because I'm sure a lot of you saw this. But last night it was made official as Nick Saban was inducted into the College Football Hall of Fame. I don't think anybody out there is going to argue against that honor for Coach Saban, but it was, again, very cool to see him be honored out there in Las Vegas. It was very cool, kind of him going back, and you got to hear him relate some of the, I guess the lessons, the experiences that he had growing up in West Virginia and growing up working at a gas station for his father, and how, looking back, he sees that a lot of the lessons and things that were instilled in him at a very young age through those experiences led him to becoming, I think, in a lot of people's opinion, the greatest coach, or certainly the greatest college football coach to ever live. So a very cool honor for Nick Saban yesterday, as he is inducted into the College Football Hall of Fame. Michael Strahan was also inducted alongside him. So two big names there, but certainly wanted to give a quick congratulations to the coach Nick Saban on that accomplishment last night. And I'm sure that won't be the last ceremony that we are talking about with Nick Saban, as he gets to look back on his fantastic career in college football as well as the NFL. Speaking of the SEC, though, this is the time of year where we know the Heisman. We told you the other day about the Heisman finalist, and that ceremony is going to be going down on Saturday. But something that was announced yesterday by the conference themselves is you have the all SEC teams that were finally announced. And pretty good showing for both Alabama and Auburn when you just look through the list. So in total, Alabama had 5 players on the all SEC teams. Auburn ended up with 9. So let's tell you exactly where those things ended up. So unsurprisingly, first team all SEC quarterback. I think you could look at the Heisman candidates and go, one of those guys is an SEC quarterback. And that would be your first team quarterback in Diego Pavia from Vanderbilt. Very much deserved there by Diego. At running back, you've got 2 first-team selections. Ahmad Hardy from Missouri, who's been incredible. And then, of course, Kewan Lacey from Ole Miss, who was, again, you go from last year, Ole Miss didn't have really any running game whatsoever, and this year they have one of the best running backs in the league, and they find themselves in the playoffs. So that shows you how important that was there. But those are your first-team running backs in the SEC. At wide receiver, you have Chris Brazzell from Tennessee, and then Casey Concepcion from Texas A&M. 2 excellent choices there, if you ask me. At tight end, no surprise, Eli Stowers from Vanderbilt. We knew coming in, that was really going to be a lot of their offense, was Diego Pavia, Eli Stowers, 2 guys that we could see playing on Sundays, and both of them you see here on the first team All-SEC list. On the offensive line, this is where we have one Alabama player, and Caden Proctor. You also have Trey Zune from Texas A&M, Keegan Trost from Mizzou, and Trevor Gooseby from Texas. Those are your offensive linemen. Your first team All-SEC center is Jake Slaughter from Florida. And then your all-purpose selection, your AP guy, that is once again Casey Concepcion there for just all the different skill sets that he has out there on the field. Now, on the defensive side, we're going to have one member from both Alabama and Auburn make the first team All SEC defense, but none of them are on the defensive line. Those would be Cassius Howell from Texas A&M, who's been an absolute monster this year. Colin Simmons from Texas, again, monster this year. You got Zion Young from Missouri, and then R. Mason Thomas from Oklahoma, which that's going to be an interesting part of the rematch next Friday between Alabama and Oklahoma because R. Mason Thomas is their best player defensively, and he was not available when Oklahoma came to Tuscaloosa and played Alabama a few weeks ago. So that defense that Alabama faced against Oklahoma is only going to get better for the rematch, as you see R. Mason Thomas there, first team All SEC defensive line. Now at linebacker, we have C.J. Allen from Georgia, Josiah Trotter from Mizzou, and here you go, Auburn fans. A much-deserved nod for Xavier Atkins at the linebacker spot. So he is a first-team All-SEC selection for the Auburn Tigers. And anybody that watched Auburn football this year, whether you're a fan or not, you saw Xavier Atkins play because he was all over the field and he had an incredible season. So a well-deserved nod for him there on first-team All-SEC. Defensive backs, maybe getting a little bit back to the way things used to be because LSU has two selections here. You have Mansour Delane and you have A.J. Halsey, who are both going to be first-team All-SEC members there for the Tigers. You have Michael Taft from Texas there, and then Bray Hubbard from Alabama. What a turnaround for him. I know a lot of criticism came his way after the Florida State loss, rightfully so in some ways, and you saw somebody play with a different level of intensity the rest of the season. And there you go. Bray Hubbard is awarded first-team All-SEC. So if you're keeping track, Auburn with one first-team selection and Xavier Atkins. Alabama has two with Bray Hubbard and Caden Proctor. Quickly here, for your specialist, your place kicker, Tate Sandell from Oklahoma, punter, Grayson Miller from Oklahoma, KC Concepcion is your returner, and then you have Lucas Carniero and Bo Gardner kind of finalizing your kick team there for first team All SEC. Now, we won't go all the way through the second and third teams, but quickly, we do have more Alabama Auburn players and just some interesting selections here. And so for second team All SEC quarterback, you actually have a tie with Trinidad Chambliss from Ole Miss. And how about this? Ty Simpson from Alabama. He gets named to the second team All SEC, neck and neck there with Trinidad Chambliss. So I think a lot of people, about a month and a half ago would have said, man, this guy might be in contention for first team All SEC quarterback and to be a Heisman finalist. But based on the way the last 5 or 6 games have gone, you've seen his numbers slip, but Ty Simpson still getting honored there, recognized as a second team All SEC selection there. You also have, if you go down on the defensive side of the ball, you got Deontay Lawson. He made second team All SEC defense there at the linebacker spot for Alabama. And then you go to the third team, you have Jeremiah Cobb from Auburn. He's the third team running back there. Gunnar Stockton from Georgia, he's the third team quarterback. You also have Parker Brailsford. He's the third team All SEC center. So there's another Alabama addition for you. On the third team defensive line, Keldrick Falk and Kieron Crawford both getting some love there for Auburn. And that is all that she wrote. So again, all in all, 5 members for Alabama, 4 for Auburn on the All SEC teams. Alabama gets 2 on the first team. Auburn gets 1 on the first team. So a nice way to kind of look back and recognize a lot of the really, really talented players we have in the SEC. And especially this year, it's interesting to go back and look because, again, I think going into the year, we felt really good that, the quarterback would be, maybe, you'd have a good debate, but it would be Garrett Nussmeier, Lenore Sellers, Lagway, Arch Manning. None of those guys found on that list. Similarly, you look at wide receiver, we thought, oh, Cam Coleman and Ryan Williams, and nope, didn't see either of them on those lists either. So it's just, it's been one of those years in college football, and a lot of things have gone maybe not exactly how it was planned, but that is your All SEC selection team for 2025. And as I mentioned on Saturday, we will continue along because we'll find out who wins the Heisman. Is it going to be brought back to the SEC or the Big Ten? Sorry, Jeremiah Love, I don't think that it's going to be you that wins it. I think it will come down to one of the quarterbacks, and we will just have to wait and see on Saturday. But a lot else to get to here in the world of college football as we start to look ahead to the college football playoff. And so something I wanted to do, and I would love to get your input on the courtesy GMC text line at 205-834-9450. But I've gone through and essentially ranked the 12 playoff teams based on right now who I think has the best shot to advance, and kind of like a power rankings, I guess, if you will. Just looking at these teams right now, making some assumptions, right? Like we're assuming that Alabama's going to be much healthier in 2 weeks, and we're assuming that a lot of these guys that are banged up for these teams are going to be good to go uh, for the first round of the playoffs. But how do we view these teams now? Take away the rest of the season, just right now, what we have looking ahead to the playoff. Let's take a deep dive into the 12 teams, who we think has the best chance to be national champions, and continue this college football conversation right here on JOX. 6:15 here on your Wednesday morning. Welcome back in to Morning Jocks. Conrad and Damian here with you until 7 o'clock. When we hand you off to McElroy and Kublik in the morning. So if you're just now joining us, we went through the all SEC teams as those were named last night and gave a quick shout out to Nick Saban, who was inducted into the College Football Hall of Fame yesterday evening as well. But this text comes in on the Courtesy GMC text line from someone that says, so for context, he texted in the other day when we were talking about the Heisman and said, no Ty Simpson. I thought he was the front runner a couple of weeks ago. He then followed that up today when we just mentioned Ty Simpson made second team all SEC. He said, heck yeah, what a turnaround. I knew Ty could make it to the SEC second team. I knew he had it in him.
He's the first time starter in the SEC and he makes second team. That's
pretty good.
It's pretty good. That's pretty good.
It is pretty solid. All right, so we are now going to get into this fun little exercise. We had somebody that just texted in their rankings on the list as well. And so what we're going to do is I'm going to give you, I have put in order from 1 to 12. Well, we'll start at 12 and go to 1. But I've essentially re-ranked the college football playoff teams, in my opinion, just going into the games, who I think, you could view it, who has the best chance to advance, who I think has the best chance to make a run in the playoffs. But right now, just based on, essentially, if I'm putting a team ahead of another, that's me telling you I think that they will probably win that matchup. So that's where I'm going with this list. This one's tricky. Well, okay, we'll get the top two out of the way. I think everyone would have the exact same top two. James Madison is easily the weakest team in the college football playoff, and Tulane is the second weak. I mean, I'm not trying to be ugly. It's obviously, I mean, James Madison, we talked about it on Monday. They played one Power 4 team this year. It was Louisville. They lost by 2 touchdowns. Louisville's not ranked. But I guess by the transitive property, maybe they're pretty equivalent to Miami, if you wanted to, make that argument.
Well, yeah, absolutely.
But Miami didn't lose to Louisville by 2 touchdowns, at least. I think there's no debate, and I'll be honest, there's no debate with the last two. I think the real debate, it's kind of like the rankings, right? It's going to be with the next three, and the next three, which would be Alabama, Oklahoma, and Miami. This is not going to make some people happy. So we'll start here at 10. I'm going to be honest, at 10, I'm going to put Miami at 10. And the reason I'm going to put them there is because they have the worst losses in the sense that they've lost both of their games to unranked opponents. You're now having to play upper-level competition. You're having to go play a Texas A&M team on the road. That's not going to be an easy thing to do. And you can make the same argument maybe about Alabama, but my thing with Miami is, okay, offensively, I don't have a ton of question marks, but we know that they have problems with turnovers. That's what happened in their 2 losses this year. If they do that, then they're not going to be able to beat anybody. And again, I have some questions about them defensively where I think maybe some other teams ahead of them are built to maybe keep things, even if their offense isn't going well, right? Like Oklahoma, I think could win a lot of low-scoring games if they needed to because of how good their defense is. Don't think Miami could really do that. So I think you can make a good argument if you want to move Miami up a spot or two. But I'm going to put Miami there at number 10. At number 9, this is really going to make people mad because they're going to go, well, they beat them. I'm putting Oklahoma at number 9. I'm sorry.
Whoa. Okay.
Who's favored in the game next Friday? On the road. Again, you can debate me until you're blue in the face, and I understand there's people. Well, Oklahoma beat Alabama. They got to be ahead of them. Okay, we're not treating this like the actual rankings where you have to honor those things.
Yeah.
You look at every other facet of that game, and Alabama dominated them. Now, does that mean that they're going to do that again next Friday? Absolutely not. Injuries are a huge concern and a huge question mark for Alabama. I do think Oklahoma has a better defense than Alabama, but I think the gap between, when Alabama's defense is playing well and Oklahoma's defense is playing well, I think the gap between that is smaller than the gap between Oklahoma's offense and Alabama's offense when they're playing well. Now, I know a lot of you would say, well, if they play like they did against Georgia, yeah, if that happens, then I look like an idiot. They should probably be number 11 or 12 on this list. Like Tulane or James Madison might give them a test. But assuming that they are able to get healthy, I am going to have Alabama right there slightly ahead of Oklahoma because I do think that Alabama, their ceiling offensively is much, much higher than Oklahoma's, and you pair that with a very solid defense, I think Alabama can cause some problems, but they got to get healthy in order to be able to do that. So, again, just to recap where we are now, I have James Madison at 12, Tulane at 11, Miami 10, Oklahoma 9. I have Alabama at 8. At number 7, I have Ole Miss.
What? You're taking Oregon over Ole Miss right
Yes. Right
now?
now. See, here's my thing with Ole Miss. You can't tell me that this stuff hasn't affected them.
Fair.
I'm not saying that they're not a good team. They're going to blow Tulane out of the water and make it to the next round. No, they shouldn't even have to think twice about it. But I do think it's fair to say that things maybe are going to be a little different. Like maybe the offense isn't going to be quite as efficient. Maybe the play calling in certain situations isn't going to be what it normally has been under, like.
It's fair.
Again, and I mean, these are all teams.
Yeah, it's like a fine line. I got
We're splitting hairs. And the reason that I put them at 7 and I put Texas A&M at 6 is, again, it's what was brought up on Sunday when the rankings came out. It's metrics wise. You look at Texas A&M. They have Ole Miss beat. The only difference is you could probably argue, you would probably say that, okay, Texas A&M lost to a Texas team that got blown out by Georgia. Ole Miss lost to the SEC champions. So you would probably give Ole Miss the lean because they have a better loss, but Texas A&M maybe has the more impressive resume in terms of who they beat and strength of schedule and things like that. But again, I think you're really splitting hairs on those two teams. Number 5, I have Oregon. I think Oregon's really good, man. I know a lot of people will. USC wasn't that good this year. USC was a good football team this year. And I think now watching Indiana do what they did to Ohio State, you can go back and look at that Oregon game and go, okay, Indiana's just the best team in the country right now. Spoiler alert, they're number 1. But, again, it is what it is. I think they're just probably the best. They're probably the best, outside of the first round bye teams. At number 4, I do have Texas Tech. I think Texas Tech is legit. I think their defense is very, very, very good. Offensively, I think you could say maybe you have some concerns of having to settle for field goals at times and things like BYU, where I think that's fine for a while, but that's the stuff that, maybe in a semifinal type situation.
You got to turn those into touchdowns.
Correct.
Got to.
But I think certainly Texas Tech is good enough to get to a semifinal and maybe even a national championship. I don't know if they're good enough to win it, but I think they're good enough to get there. And if you're good enough to get there, you're probably good enough to win it. At number 3, I did mix this one up. I have Ohio State at number 3, and the reason I moved them down to number 3 is going into the Big Ten championship game, I thought they were going to win that game, and I thought they were the best team in the country. But after watching that game, and again, it's fair, but I think it's obvious that, maybe a guy – I think losing that game to Indiana could be a really good thing for them, just like last year with the Michigan game, because Julian Sayin hadn't really been challenged that much, and now he has, and now he kind of understands, okay, this is what it's going to take to win a national championship. He knows what he's working against, and he's gotten some guys that have given him some challenges now, and I think that they will respond to that the right way. But it did give me some concern because Indiana caused them some problems. You had the chip shot field goal you missed late. Like, those are the kinds of things that you need to make happen when you're a national champion, and maybe this year's just not that year, but they're going to have a chance to prove that. At number 2, I have Georgia. Again, they went 12-1. Their only loss was to Alabama by 3 points earlier this season. They won the SEC, throttled Bama in the title game, throttled Texas, beat Ole Miss.
They stepped up to every challenge.
Absolutely. Absolutely. They should be number 2 in my list. And then Indiana at number 1. I don't think you can make any argument right now that anybody else should be number 1. It's Indiana until proven otherwise. And I think a lot of people picking them to win the national championship. So that's my list. I just kind of went through, and I know it's not drastically different from the rankings, but a couple of things that I threw in there. And I know some people chiming in, I'm surprised you didn't have Alabama number 1. They're not winning a national championship. I'm sorry. They're not.
You don't think so?
Absolutely not. See, I think their ceiling is, I'll be honest with you, I don't think they can win more than one game. I don't think they're going to beat Indiana if they beat Oklahoma. I just don't.
You don't think they can catch the momentum and catch the wave? Or they haven't?
No, because I've watched 13 games this year, and I know who they are. So it's like, even if they get healthy, I think they can be really good. I do not think that you're not going to see the team you saw against Georgia the first time. That team doesn't exist anymore, in my opinion.
Okay, so out of the 12, how many could you see as the national champion? How many of them have a true, legit path/chance to win the national title?
Either 5 or 6. I think Texas A&M is kind of on the fringe for me.
That's like the cut line.
Yeah, I don't think James Madison, Tulane, Miami, Oklahoma, Alabama, or Ole Miss. I don't think any of those teams can actually win a national championship. I think that
Okay.
you could win some games
Mm-hmm.
potentially. Like I could see Ole Miss winning a couple games. I can't see them winning a national championship. I don't know
Okay.
if I can with Texas A&M either. So I'd probably say the top 5.
Okay.
Is
I'm
that
not opposed. I think the only thing I would probably swap, I would have Oklahoma over Alabama because I've seen that matchup. Now, was it
totally fair?
closer than expected? 100%. But Oklahoma does have the head-to-head. And I think Oklahoma's defense is what can keep them in ball games.
Oh, no doubt.
It's the inconsistency on offense because one week, John Mateer could look like the John Mateer before the injury, and then the next week you see a game like LSU or an Alabama where it's like, okay, this offense is just it's not clicking. But their defense keeps them in ball games.
Yeah, well, and that's 100% why I put Alabama over Oklahoma is because I think Oklahoma's better defense. Like Oklahoma's defense is A+. I would say
Right.
Alabama's defense is maybe like A-. Like it's still good, it's just not quite as good. But I think Alabama's offense, if the guys are healthy, can be way better than Oklahoma's offense can be. Like Oklahoma's offense has struggled almost all year.
Yeah.
Whereas Alabama's like, okay, it's been bad for a month, but
But when it clicks,
yeah,
Yeah.
you still have like again when they've needed moments, like it's come through for them. So I don't know. I just thought that'd be an interesting discussion. I've seen a lot of people kind of throwing out different, power rankings or this team's better than that team or this team's path to win the national championship. And I mean that's great and all, but I think that's a waste of time for about half the field. Then I mean they're just not going to win. It's not saying they're not good teams. It's just you have to be another. We have talked about this for years now. There is a big difference in being a team that's capable of making the playoff and being a team that's there are
can win.
probably 30 or 40 teams in a given year that can make a playoff. There's about 5 that can win a national championship, in my opinion. It's just we're having different conversations when it comes to making a playoff versus winning a playoff. But who knows? James Madison maybe will win it all and we'll all look like idiots. That's not happening.
I don't think that's
That one's not going to happen. I'll just go ahead and let you know that. But we want to get your thoughts as well. 205-834-9450. A couple of you sending in your own rankings and some of your thoughts on what we just talked about there. So we'd love to hear from you on the Courtesy GMC text line, 205-834-9450 as we roll along here on a Wednesday morning. This is JOX. Welcome back into Morning Jocks. Conrad and Damien here with you talking college football playoff. And appreciate some of you chiming in this morning. See, this is what I like. Like, did I not, before we just went to break, did I not tell you that I don't think Alabama could win more than one game in the play? Like, I don't think they're getting past Indiana if they beat Oklahoma. Did I not say that?
You did.
I did. Which is why it's funny that Bama haters texting in, like, Bama's not going to win 2 games, and the faithful will be back on the Fire DeBoer campaign. Bama will be back in T-Town before the elves finish making their toys. I literally, like, I appreciate you chiming into the show, but you're using something that I literally said as, like, a gotcha moment when I literally said the same thing. Like, I agree with you.
Right.
Good to
focus.
Good to listen sometimes. Good to listen sometimes. But I am happy that Miami got in. I think that I think that they deserve to be in. I do think that they will lose in the first round, but I think, again, they deserve the spot to be in, and maybe I'm wrong, but I'm glad that they were right. I'm just glad to know that this is now the second time we've heard from Bama hater this week, and it's all about Alabama losing in the playoff and nothing about his Miami team going on a deep run, probably because he knows they're not going to. All right, let's see. This text comes in and says, Georgia will be the last team standing. They're going to win it all. Okay. I could see it. Let's see. This one says, why doesn't Alabama let Ty Simpson be on the move more in order to get away from the pass rush?
See, I thought after the Iron Bowl, there was going to be a little bit more quarterback design run because he showed that he can. Nobody's asking him to run, quarterback power or anything 12 times a game like Jalen Milroe. But I did think that Alabama was going to open up the playbook a little bit more to kind of use Ty Simpson's legs because he's more athletic and he's got a little bit more juice than you kind of expected. But they haven't necessarily done it because you saw it in the Iron Bowl early on. He broke off a long run. And that's kind of something I've been missing I think that's been missing for Alabama is honoring, again, nobody's telling you to do what you did with Jalen Milroe last year, but I do think that Ty Simpson's legs are effective when they've needed to be.
Mm-hmm.
So why not call a little bit more quarterback design runs because your running back room has been kind of banged up and, just to add another layer to your offense. And I've even questioned that a couple of times of, why haven't they done it?
Yeah, and my assumption, because I've had the same thought of why are they not running it with Ty more, and I think a lot of it just came down to if he got hurt, they knew that they were in really bad shape, and so the last thing they wanted to do was ask him to take hits. But I do agree that at this point, it kind of seems like it'd be a good option. Like at this point in the season, right? What do you have to lose? And I mean that it's just hard for me. And I know Cuevas being out is a big part of it, but it just feels like there's a lot of opportunities for quick passes, getting the ball out early, maybe letting him use his legs a little bit more. And, I mean, we've seen, I think when Oklahoma's offense has worked this year, they've done a good job of things like that. Vanderbilt does a good job of that with stuff like with Pavia. It's just, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me either why you don't get maybe don't get quite as much of that. Jeremy chimes in and says Notre Dame could have went on a better run than Alabama.
I guess we'll never know.
I guess we'll never know.
Maybe in 2026/27.
Yeah, I see, and I love this because his last text is, well, Alabama loses, they should be left out, but they won't because of the television rating. Like, I love that that's what everybody goes back to. They left Notre Dame out. If they cared about the television ratings, guess who would be in Notre Dame? Just like last year, Alabama would have been in.
Yeah.
Like, that is, I'm sorry, that is the laziest. Like, that just shows me you don't know what you're talking about because that's the same thing that, like, Bama hater always goes back to. All they care about is the TV ratings. They have actively shown you that is not why they're putting teams in because
that's not a data point.
Go and look at the teams that they get left out. Texas got left out. Right. Notre Dame got left out.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. People just I'm just tired of hearing excuses like that. Let's see. Antoine chimes in. He says, you're tripping, Conrad. Bama's going to shock the world. They have the pieces to win it all. I will believe it when I see it. And I'll be honest with you. This is nothing against Alabama. I haven't thought. It's been a long time. Like, maybe after the Georgia game this year, you could have caught me in a good mood. I've never. It's been a handful of weeks since I thought this was a team that could compete for a national championship.
Mm-hmm. Like you said, they could get to the playoffs for sure. But as far as making a deep run, there's just got to be improvement, and the path that they have to take now. I mean, you may get past Oklahoma, but Indiana just looks for real. Like they can win it any way you want it.
Yep.
It just seems like a daunting task.
They are quite good. Let's see. This one says Oklahoma won at Bama, though. This is going back to OU. The Bama offense isn't disciplined enough for the home field to not have an effect for Oklahoma. Very well may be the case. Very well may be the case. Let's see. This one. Yep. Surprised Conrad didn't have Alabama at number 1. Well, they are not anywhere near that conversation right now. Let's see. Fanboy says, y'all are giving Oregon and Texas Tech way too much credit. I think Bama can win it all, even more so than those two. I disagree with that. I think both of those teams are better than Alabama right now.
I mean, you can give me a conversation with Oregon, but Texas Tech, man, they're about like Oklahoma, just a little bit more consistently.
They have a better offense.
Yeah, defensively, if they turn you over, that defense is legit.
Yeah,
that defense is legit. They have proven that you can, if you buy the right pieces, you can make it work.
Absolutely.
You can definitely make it work.
Working well for them on the gridiron as well as in softball, as they were playing for a Women's College World Series this past summer. Let's see. More of your text. Let's see. And yet again, Bama Hater has nothing to say about his Canes. Yep. Let's see. Lewis chimes in and says, zone read option, which Ty is capable of running, would eat Oklahoma up and slow them down at the same time. It will be interesting to see if they try to, again, do they try some different looks? Do they try to mix it up a little bit for an Oklahoma team? Because, again, I know, it's a little bit different, but you played them now essentially three times in 1 year. And you played them at both venues now. You've had different teams, it would just be interesting to see, is it all right, we kind of know each other pretty well. We're just going to go out there, and the things that worked well for us last time, we're going to try to do those same things with the exception of not turning the ball over and hope that we win, or do we add some new wrinkles in there and try to give them a different look? I will say this, though. If to be optimistic, if you're an Alabama fan, Kalen DeBoer is 4-0 coming off of bye weeks at Alabama, and this is, technically a bye week because you're getting 2 weeks to prepare. So we'll see what him and Ryan Grubb have ready to go. Let's see. This one says, Bama Hater has no room to talk when it's only been 2 months since he was ready to fire his coach. He's been ready to fire Cristobal for a while.
Yeah, he has.
Going back to last year, I think. Let's see. This one says, just tell Ty to let it rip. If no one's open, then just tuck it and run. He says Ryan Grubb needs to get back in the booth. He can't see the whole field while he's on the ground. I'll be honest with you. Was he on the field on Saturday? I thought he was in the booth. I'm being honest.
He was on the field.
He was on the field. Okay.
He was on the field.
Because I know that change was made a couple of games ago. Maybe that is what you need to do. Maybe he does need to go back up to the booth because they did that for the Eastern Illinois game.
Mm-hmm.
And then I guess they've kept doing that since then. Let's see. This one says, Bama Hater hates Bama more than he is a Miami fan. It's literally his identity. You can argue his hate for Alabama kind of makes him an Alabama fan due to how much he keeps up with the program. That's actually a really good idea. I do think actually Bama Hater might be the biggest Alabama fan in the world. I don't think we've taken that angle into consideration enough. This one says the running back room is banged up, and so is Ty Simpson. That's why they're not running him as much. Been banged up since the Missouri game. Thank you for chiming in there. Yeah, and that's basically what we were saying. It is what it is. Let's go to the phone lines real quick, though. More of your texts coming in. We'll get back to those on the courtesy GMC text line here in a minute. But Larry's been waiting by patiently. Wants to talk a little college football playoff. Larry, how we doing this morning?
Guys, love the show every morning. Y'all bring it. But 2 points, maybe 3, okay?
All right.
Who in the world, guys, and all due respect, and I love y'all's perspective, but who in the world has Ohio State and Indiana literally played all year long? Let's get real now.
Well, Indiana just beat Ohio State.
And Indiana. But my point is, Ohio State scored 1 touchdown on Indiana.
Yeah.
And they won the Big Ten championship. But let's look at the facts here. They played Texas week 1. They beat them by a touchdown. But overall, respect to obviously Indiana winning at Oregon, but still, in reference to the teams that they played across the board, who have they beaten that would just blown them out? That's what I get so.
Illinois, Washington. Like, I mean,
know,
I
guys,
understand I
seriously,
understand what you're saying, Larry. Like, I get it. I understand it's the Big Ten. Who have they really played? I promise you, they are good. Like, I
Yeah.
promise you, they
Oh,
are very
I don't
good.
deny. I don't argue with you there, but my point is, if I'm not mistaken, let's get real. Notre Dame lost to 5 teams that had 8 losses. 5 teams that had 8 losses. I did not know that until I read that yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't have a very
I'm
difficult
just talking
schedule.
about you.
Yeah.
You look at the fact that Notre Dame embarrassed Arkansas, the worst team in the conference. But yet Arkansas played some of our good teams close. I mean, it's up and down. And then you look at Bama. We got our half. We got handed to us in Atlanta. But who would have thought we would have went in there on Georgia's field and played them the way we played them? So
Yeah.
it's all about motivation. It's all about being mentally prepared. We know all this, but I just get so ticked off and pissed when people say, "Woo, well, come on, Ohio State," or "Come on, Indiana." Some of our teams that are, I mean, look at Texas. I mean, they got left out, like you said earlier, but still, that's just my perspective. And one more point about Bama Hater, he still hasn't recovered from the 33-year up, 92 butt whipping. They scored 1 touchdown on a punt return.
Mm-hmm.
He's never recovered from that. That's all I'm going to say, guys. Enjoy the show.
Thank you, Larry. I appreciate you joining in on the conversation there. I'll just say I respectfully disagree with Larry.
Yeah.
Like, and I get it. They're not in the SEC. Who have they played? They're not as battle tested. They would whoop some ass in the. Like, I'm sorry. Like they just would. Like if you just watch them.
Just
play.
watch them play.
Just watch them play. Like, and I understand. Well, who have they played? Well, Indiana's beaten 2 of the top 5 teams in the country. Nobody else has done that. So that's But I get it. It's Indiana. It's hard. It's still hard to. It's like Vanderbilt. It's hard to wrap your head around the fact that they are not only good, but maybe the best team in the country. But they are.
They are.
They're really good, man. They're really, really good. All right, more of your texts coming in, 205-834-9450 on the courtesy GMC text line. Let's keep this conversation going. Your thoughts on the college football playoff. That's all next here on JOX. Welcome back into Morning Jocks here on a chilly Wednesday in the Birmingham area. We will hand you off to McElroy and Kublik in the morning coming up here at 7 o'clock. But Conrad and Damian here with you for a few more moments as we will continue to get your thoughts on the courtesy GMC text lines as well as the phone lines as we've stirred up a little bit of a conversation here amongst different teams in the SEC, in the college football playoff and power rankings and who would beat who and all of that kind of stuff. But how about this? John Mack, he chimes in, a big Texas A&M fan. He says, "Don't worry, boys. We will end Bama hater season at Kyle Field. It'll be convicts versus cultists." I like that.
Yeah.
I mean, at least they're embracing it.
Yeah, lean into it. God, I hope they win.
The Aggie faithful.
Because you want to talk about, leaving a lot of change on the table after what you've done in the regular season. I do not want Texas A&M to be a one and done because you had an argument of being, the best team in in college football for about 12 or 13 weeks of the season, and then, the rivalry game against Texas goes the way it goes, and it's like, come on now, like the one chance you got, just don't blow it. Don't blow it.
All right, so I'm gonna need this person. You're gonna have to send in a screenshot or something where you're seeing this because I'll just tell you right now. I think someone's feeding you bad information. This text says, "Hey guys, the line on a Vandy versus Indiana game would be Vanderbilt -3."
What?
I promise you that is not true.
No.
I don't know who told you that or where you saw that. That is not real.
Listen, I think Vanderbilt is definitely improved, but
Indiana would be, I would bet, over a touchdown.
Yeah, I'd say 10.
Probably like 9.5, 10.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't know where you
gotta find those sources, man.
Yeah, if you have a screenshot or something, please send that in. But yeah, that's not real life. I'm sorry. That's not real. I find that very hard to believe that that's actually a line that someone put out there. Well, not that somebody reputable put out there. Let me say that. Let's see. This one says, what people are not understanding about NIL is that there are no standalone super teams anymore. It's not that teams look bad and are not good. It's just that the talent is more evenly distributed.
Absolutely.
Yep. You are absolutely right about that. This Matt says, I think the SEC is the dominant conference with way more dominant teams. The problem with the Big Ten is, yes, they have three or four teams that are good, but they're not beat up like the SEC is. So by the time the playoffs come around, everybody's evened up now. Yeah. I mean, that's really what the SEC, when coaches, like when you hear what Kirby said after the SEC championship, it's, you're going up against, let's say, Arkansas this year, right? Arkansas is not a good football team. They're the worst team in the SEC. But they're also one of the best offenses in all of college football, and you've got NFL talent on that roster that's hitting you, and you're having to hit for 60 minutes on a Saturday. Like, that's the difference is, every now and then, yeah, you might have some guy at Purdue that's pretty good, but you know what I'm saying? Like, from top to bottom, the roster at, let's say, Purdue or Northwestern is drastically weaker than the roster at Arkansas or Kentucky or Vanderbilt.
Mm-hmm.
That's where it kind of comes into play there. And yeah, I mean, I think the injuries certainly do play a part of it, but I do also think that, the Big Ten look, I understand they are a top heavy conference. Those teams are good.
100%.
Like, I know some people don't want to accept that they could be better than the SEC, but some of those teams are better than teams in the SEC. It's just the reality. They're really, really good. Let's see. This one comes in 205 Sooner. As an Oklahoma fan that has seen Oklahoma beat Alabama 4 times since 2000, live and in person, I'm taking donations to stay here and not drive to Norman. I think those are the same donations some people would want to send me to Norman to guarantee that Alabama would lose, because then that would certainly not go very well. Let's see. This one says, too bad we'll never know about Vanderbilt and Indiana because the committee is made up of idiots. Look, I love Vanderbilt. They had a great story this year. They did not deserve to be in over the teams that are in right now. Well, Tulane and James Madison aside, yes, they're better than them. But in terms of the 10 teams that who'd you beat this year?
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's my only thing with Vanderbilt. Your best win is you blew out Tennessee, which was a great win in Knoxville. Tennessee is not ranked in the top 25.
Mm-hmm.
You had a chance to beat Alabama. You couldn't do it.
Yep. And Clark Lee even said it. He's just like, hey, we didn't get it done.
Yep.
no matter how we feel
Could
about
beat
this team,
Texas, didn't do it.
Yep, you had 2 opportunities and you fell short.
You win one of those games, you're in the playoffs. It is what it is. All right, let's go to Melvin real quick. He wants to talk college football playoff this morning. How we doing, Melvin?
I'm doing pretty good, guys. Been a minute since I called in. My guys are going through a coaching change, but I heard you and Damian talking about Texas A&M, and their last time out against Texas, man, they did not look good to me. And I want to know what y'all thought about Marcel Reed, because he didn't have a good game, and I think with Miami being good defensively, I mean, they kind of concern me. So I just want to know what y'all thought about Marcel Reed and moving forward with that playoff game. All right, guys, thanks.
No, we appreciate you, Melvin. Yeah, I don't know.
He's just consistently inconsistent.
Yeah.
Because there's moments where it's, man, when it clicks, he can really slice and dice you, but that can be one drive. It could be, one half, and then the second half he'll look, like he's lost. It's just it's boom or bust, and it's almost play dependent. So I think the best thing for Texas A&M is you have those pieces at receiver that can elevate you. You got Casey Concepcion, you got Mario Craver, you got the host of tight ends and the stack of running backs you have back there. So a lot of pressure is off of him, but yet there are moments where I feel like he plays Superman a little too much.
Yeah. No, I think that's a spot-on assessment there, Marcel Reed. This text says, offshore line right now would be Indiana minus 7.5 over Vanderbilt. Okay.
Yeah, I take that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I take that.
Yeah. Let's see. It says, do y'all remember in the preseason making fun of Florida State saying that Alabama losing to FSU would be the equivalent to them losing to James Madison? Well, then thank God they're not playing JMU in the first round and they're playing Oklahoma. Yeah, that was not the way we thought it would go. Well, we appreciate you joining us.